Hello, Syed Imran Bukhari with the Global Mind. GCSE, IGCSE, and A level exams are finally over. The students might have taken a huge sigh of relief as it is routinely a very challenging and traumatic experience. The exam time framework, without any doubt, is pretty much a psychological mayhem and a physical stress and chaos. However, this year the exam process has added more salt to students' injury. The way exams were conducted once again raised many questions regarding its integrity and transparency. On 29th April, Cambridge International As-Level Mathematics question paper taken in administrative zones 3 and 4 was leaked ahead of the scheduled exam time. Similarly, another Cambridge International As-Level Mathematics paper conducted across Africa, Europe, the Middle East, Pakistan and South Asia were also shared prematurely. The exam board also confirmed that one component of computer science exam had also been circulated internationally before exam day. Reports suggested these question papers were widely circulated on social media and messaging platforms before the exams. CIE says it is mostly international students who are affected, but the papers are also set by some students in independent schools across the UK. Soon after the exam papers were voided by the respective board, the leaked exam papers has sparked global concerns over the credibility and security of one of the world's most respected examination systems. The incident affected thousands of students across different countries and raised serious concerns regarding its examination security and fairness. Not to forget that over 5,000 schools around the world offer Cambridge International education as in A-levels covering 132 countries according to its website. Cambridge authorities initiated an urgent investigation and introduced emergency measures to protect the integrity of the assessment process. They believe that it is very rare for any of their exams to be compromised and they act quickly to ensure such candidate receives a fair grade. But for Global Mind, this is not the point. The issue isn't if paper leakage is complete, frequent, or happened in a particular administrative zones. Rather, it is of credibility and transparency aspect. Despite of their stance, the episode has once again highlighted how paper leaks remain a worldwide challenge affecting students, institutions, and public trust in the most competitive examinations globally. More specifically in Pakistan, where over 100,000 students at 683 schools set either Cambridge O-Level, IGCSEs and International A's and A-Level each year. The paper leak is not a new phenomenon. It happened before and it is the second consecutive year that paper have been out before actual exams. In May 2013, following a security breach, the Cambridge International Examination asked around 15,000 students in Pakistan to retake their O-Level and IGCSE Pakistan Studies and Islamiyat exams. Similarly, in April 2015, a localized leak occurred in Egypt where a small number of students had advanced information of questions for an IGCSE Information and Communication Technology practical examination, leading to an investigation with the British Council. Similarly, last year was the worst case of paper leakage. Three incidents of premature paper leaks were reported and confirmed by the CIE. In June 2025 series, Cambridge International A's and A-Level Mathematics Paper 12, one question was shared before the exam was taken. In the second incident, parts of the two questions of A's A-Level Mathematics Paper 4-2 were shared before the exams. Similarly, in the same exam series, parts of one question of A's A-Level Computer Science Paper 22 were shared prematurely. Question is, how do papers of one of the world's most prestigious boards get leaked beforehand? Let's discuss how CIE conducted its exams and where and how exam personnel could find loopholes. to leak the whole or parts of the particular paper. We have to understand the system and the processes, how CIE conducts its exams. One should be clear that Cambridge doesn't conduct its exams directly by its staff. They rely upon partners and associates to take the examination, whether it's O level or A level. The main exam partner for CIE is the British Council for taking exams for most of the private students and many schools. They administer exams, provide venues, invigilators, and handle private candidate registration. They have been doing this for over 75 years. Another pathway for conducting exams is Cambridge accredited schools. They call these as associate schools. Schools like Beacon House, LGS, Roots, etc. etc. These are registered with CIE centers with a PK number. They register candidates, conduct and runs the exams in-house. At the top, the CIE operates in each country through its head office. They set papers, secures them, marks the scripts globally. 70% of entries are done directly via schools, 30% via British Council. So first step is how papers are delivered by the CIE to their partners. Hard papers are printed at the secure Cambridge warehouses in the UK. These are shipped in tamper-proof boxes to centers in each country through a reliable courier service. CIE ships these papers to 170 plus countries. For places like Pacific Islands, remote Africa, etc., they plan their delivery many months ahead to get materials on time. Digital exam material are filed or dispatched online, increasingly used in some countries like China. CIE prints them on secure printers under strict and well-established rules. No paper leaves the Cambridge headquarters before its time frame. Another issue which the CIE has to take care of its time zone. How they stop leaks across time zones. The Cambridge has split the world into 6 time zones, or they call it administrative zones. All centers in one time zone sit the exam at the same local time. For example, in New Zealand, candidates cannot finish particular paper earlier than the candidates in UK. It prevents New Zealand students to post those papers on social media before UK students start it. Similarly, another method is multiple paper variants. For high-risk subjects like A-level maths or computer science, the CIE uses different question papers in different zones. The introduction of different variants also discourage any chances of paper leaks before the actual exams. Other steps include full center supervision before and after the exams. Candidates are supervised strictly with no phones and internet. They cannot leave the exam hall until the specified time. Even when I was an exam officer in one of the international schools in China, we used to turn off school Wi-Fi for everyone, including teachers, during the paper duration. It was an additional step to ward off any minimal chances of malpractices. The reason was that due to some technical issues, students used to find out school Wi-Fi one way or the other, which was quite challenging task throughout the academic year for teachers as well as school management. Our center was covered with CCTV cameras during the full exam time. The recorded videos could be shared with CIE on need basis. The question arises that what happens once the papers arrive in a host country? So, once the papers arrive in a host country, every center that operates exams must comply with the CIE quality standards to keep papers secure. These standards require that exam center must have secure supervised storage facilities in accordance with the regulations set out by the Cambridge. O and A level exams in Pakistan are primarily conducted by CIE with the British Council facilitation. The British Council handles registration, venue management, and administration for schools and private candidates. There are other boards as well who offer GCSE, IGCSE, and A-level qualifications, such as Pearson, Edexcel, and Oxford AQA. but they attract limited number of students and have a flexible modules. The question papers arrive around 24 to 48 hours before the exam date. These are properly sealed in boxes under the British Council lock. The boxes carry blue color sealed envelopes which carries different question papers. Once the papers arrive from the CIE to the designated exam centers, the head of the center is responsible for everything. The exam officer must make it sure that they didn't get exam material for another center. They must not open the box or outer packaging if the delivery has the wrong center number and address. Once the center number is confirmed, the heads of the center or exam officer must carefully check the contents of the confidential dispatch. Another member of the staff must watch. The boxes carry printed labels which provide all the details to the exam officer, including how many question papers are inside. These question papers are sealed in blue-color plastic envelopes to ensure additional security. When the checking and the contents of the confidential dispatch, exam officers are not allowed to open the blue envelopes and count the number of question papers. The blue question paper packets must stay sealed until the exam day. Before opening the dispatch box, exam officer and associate staff should check for any signs of damage to the box or packet. If the material is damaged or there is any sign of tampering or a question paper packet is opened before the exams, the exam officer should immediately reseal the damaged packet. They are required to take photos as evidence and send it to CIE with damaged or open question paper packet. Once all parts of the dispatch are checked for damage, the officer can open the dispatch or box. However, they need to open the box containing the dispatch note first. There should be a sticker on the box to show which one contains the dispatch. If exam officer cannot find the dispatch note in any of the boxes, they are required to report it immediately. This check must include making sure all the exam material listed on the dispatch note is received. There is no outward damage or sign of opening of confidential exam material. Exam officer must put a tick next to the material listed on the dispatch note or making a list of all material received in each delivery. The head of the center or the exam officer and the number of staff who witnessed the delivery being checked must sign and date the records. They must keep the record until they receive certificates or they must show the records if CIE asks for it. Exam officer must report to CIE immediately if they face any problems. For example, if the question papers have not arrived within 2 working days of the timetabled exam, it is extremely important that they telephone CIE. Exam officers should avoid emailing in cases where urgent action is needed. The CIE may not be able to deal with the query quickly enough. However, after telephoning, the exam officer must email CIE with the syllabus and component number of the missing question papers. In case of emergency, the CIE may send it digitally as well to be printed out. So far, we have talked about those question papers or exam material which is delivered to the exam officers as a hard copy. But in some cases, CIE sends downloadable exam material online as well. In few cases, exam officers need to download confidential materials from digital file dispatch. For example, sources like sources files for ICT, IT, and computer science practical tests. For language listening exams tests, where where exam officers need to download confidential audio files from the global listening. In that case, centers can download and save files 7 calendar days before the timetable date of the listening exam test. The CIE email exam officers when they upload the material and email again when the materials are available to download. Now we are coming to the last part of this program, which is related with the storage of the exam materials. For all the practical purpose, the head of the center is responsible for the storage facility and to keep the question papers and exam content secure. There are two-layer security arrangements at the center. The exam material needs to be locked in a specially designed containers. The question papers needed to be put in any external fixing that secure the container to the wall or floor and must be tamper-proof. One's external locking bar across the middle of the tall metal container may not be enough. Any external fixings that secure the locking bars to the metal container must be tamper-proofed. The second layer means a secure room. The secure container must be stored in a locked room in a building. The walls, ceiling, and the floor of the secure room must be of solid construction. The secure room must be locked at all times when not in use. The walls and the ceilings must be made of brick or concrete. The room should be dedicated secure room where only exam materials are stored. It should have no internal or external windows. If this is not possible, windows must be securely fitted with the metal bars or the room must have dedicated alarm system. To conclude with, it is clear that at some level the exam officer has been involved in these paper leaks. It doesn't stem from a central breach of Cambridge systems, but rather through a localized breach such as security failures within the exam centers. The exam officer crossed the red line by opening the blue envelope, which is supposed to be opened in the examination hall and not before that. Images were taken, sold to the scammers, and got circulated like a wildfire over social media night before the papers. Once the images were already taken, the envelopes were manually sealed again to cover the malpractice. It was open on exam day and nobody noted it. Despite of it, the CIE cannot absolve itself from the responsibility. This is the second year in a row when its papers are being leaked. The Pakistan's Federal Ministry of Education had previously conducted inquiries into such incidents, while Cambridge had also assured internal investigations. However, the findings were not shared with the ministry nor were details disclosed regarding those responsible for this action. We cannot see any criminal proceedings against any fraudsters, school, center, or organization so far. The Cambridge paper leak inquiries are always shrouded in secrecy, giving little or no details about actions which they take against the people involved. Under examination security protocols, Cambridge question papers are not supposed to leave examination centers as candidates write answers directly on the question papers. Despite this, both unsolved and solved versions of the paper reportedly circulated on social media before and after the exams. We may not know about the people responsible for inflicting such harm to the students, but let's keep our fingers crossed for 2027 exams next year. Thank you so much for watching.